Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Wit Stitches. Today I'm going to show you guys how to create this Tunisian leaf pattern as a coaster. I know there's a lot of video tutorials on how to do this pattern. I had been wanting to make it as a coaster because I've just been on this coaster kick lately and I couldn't find one, so I went ahead and made my own, and I just wanted to share with you guys what I did. And so that's what this video is about. You're not going to need a whole lot. You're just going to need a 4mm crochet hook, a yarn needle, some scissors, and I used this 4-strand yarn, and it's acrylic. You can make it out of cotton too, any sort of, really any type of yarn. It's a very adaptable pattern. So today we're going to be making this green pattern, or this green version. And yeah, let's go have some fun and let's start crafting. So to get started with this project, we got to start with the magic ring. So what you're want to do is grab your tail and then take your working yarn and go around your finger like this and cross it over, and then pull that up a little bit, bring your hook underneath that first yarn and then pull up, and then you'll want to go over again just to lock that loop in. And so we've chained one into our magic ring. So from here, to fill up this ring, we're going to put in 15 double crochets. So to first begin that, we're going to chain 2. Alright. So now let's start with our double crochets. So we want 15 in total. Here's 1. 1. 2, and go through 2 again, so that's 2. And 3. And I'm going to leave these a little loose and not do it as tight as I normally do with other pieces. I've noticed that with this acrylic yarn, it's easier for me if I leave it a little loose. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice that it's probably going to bunch up a bit and fill up your ring, so what I like to do is I like to just squish it down, and then you open up so much space. That's 5. So we'll probably just speed through the rest of this, just because it's repetitive. But once we're done with 15, we'll go back and see what we need to do next. So I'll see you there. Alright, so we have 15 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Alright, so you notice that there's this gap here. So what we want to do is now close up our magic ring by pulling on this tail. You'll see that this closes right up. You can pull that tight. Let's go ahead and retrieve our our loop again, where we're working out of, and you're gonna go ahead and find your first double crochet, and you're gonna slip stitch to close the ring. Cool. So there's that. It's a little loose because I was loose earlier, but for your pieces it'll probably be a little bit tighter. Okay, so now that we've got our magic ring, our 15 single or double crochets in our magic ring, we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and start the Tunisian leaf pattern. So to get started on that, so after you chain 1, you'll go into the back loop of your first double crochet, put your hook through, and then yarn over and pull through, and then into the next stitch you're going to go underneath both loops, underneath that V, and then yarn over, pull through. So we're going to create our first row of our Tunisian pattern. So pull, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to yarn over and then pull through these next 2 loops. So that's 1. We're going to make 12 of these rows, and to continue with this, what we're going to do is go into these back loops. If you can see that, but this is the loop that we want to try and get into right here. So we're going to go into that loop, and then we're going to go into the back loop of the first of the, I guess the first stitch we made when we started to turn back around and go back up. So go into that one. We're looking to go into those 2. And those are kind of hard to see initially. So I'll make this a little loose. You might need your fingernail. Go through that back stitch, or the back loop, yarn over, pull through, go into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and then it's not really super obvious, but if you turn your piece on its side and you kind of tug a little bit, you'll see that there's this stitch here, and that's that first stitch you made when you went and turned back around. You don't want to go into this stitch, you want to go into the one next to it. That's the next available stitch. Yarn over, pull through, and now we're going to do the same thing where we yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, that's our second row, and we're just going to keep on doing that until we get through 12 of these rows. You'll notice as you continue to do this pattern that that spine, those back loops, or these back stitches, are more visible. So you'll just keep on working into those, into that back loop, and then into the next stitch. So in this next one we should have 5 loops on the hook. Yep, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and then into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through. And I like to kind of keep this one a little loose, that last one. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, that's our third row. This is what this looks like. Okay. So this one looks like at the end of row 12. It's looking pretty good. All right, so let's get started on turning this back around and creating a border, and that'll help flatten this out. Okay. So what I like to do there to make this like look a little bit, it already looks kind of like a leaf, but to make it get a little point on it, to make it look a little more leafy, I guess, I like to chain 2. Oh, sorry about that. Let me do that again in frame. We're gonna chain 2. And then in the second chain from the hook, in that back loop, we're gonna go ahead and single crochet. All right, and that's gonna make a little peak once we connect it back into the main piece. So notice how that's coming out of the top. We're gonna go into this next, so not this stitch, but this next one, not this one, but this one, we're gonna go ahead and single crochet into. All right, starting to get kind of like a teardroppy look to it. All right, so in order to keep this curve and not to bunch it up, we're gonna alternate between doing one single crochet and then doing 2 single crochets into the next. And we're just gonna, like I said, alternate between those two. So that was a single crochet. Let's go ahead and do 2 single crochets into this one. Now we're gonna do 1 crochet, 1 single crochet. And then we're gonna do 2 into this next one, to this next gap. All right. 1, 2. All right, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, and 2. 1, 1, and 2. 1, and 1, 2. And then keep doing that down here. 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, and 2. All right. So that's what it looks like. Looking pretty good, I'd say. So let's keep going. All right, so you'll notice pretty quickly, like once you get to these ones with bigger gaps in them, I put 2 single crochets in each. So I'm going to put an increase in each. 2, 2. And then instead of increasing like we did in these other ones all the way up, we're just going to put 1 single crochet in here. In that very last gap, and we're going to chain 2. And then same as before when we made the tip the first time, we're going to go ahead and go into the second chain from the hook and do a single crochet. And then at the in this very next stitch, we have our point in this one, we're going to go ahead and put in a single crochet. Alright, so similar to what we did before, instead of doing alternating 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, we're gonna do 2 single crochets, so 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 into the next, and I think that'll give us a nice curve. So it's 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and we're gonna put 2 in here, 1 and 2. I think this might be a nice spot to do. Let's do one more. Well, instead of doubling up, we're just going to do 1 here. Alright, and now we're going to make the little stem part that's going to go here. So to do that, we're going to need a chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And in the back loops, which we should be really familiar with now, we're going to go ahead and skip the first one in the chain. So the first chain in the hook from the hook and go into the second one, and we're going to put in a single crochet in this guy. I'm going to need my yarning needle. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and 5. And then to join it back into the piece, we're going to go ahead and just do a slip stitch into the next stitch and slip stitch. All right, looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and cut this. Leave a little bit of a tail so you can sew into your piece. And I like to just kind of like pull it out a little bit so it'll lay flat. Alright. So now you got 2 tails. The best way to sew them in, just take your needle. I guess we don't need this guy anymore. Oh gosh, got dog hair everywhere. If you're a pet owner, you understand that the hair never ends. It's just in your everyday life. It's a lifestyle. Okay, so I like to just go into some parts a few times. Just make sure you go over it so it kind of knots it, and then I like to just weave it in. I like to go in between, like in the knot, and this seems pretty good. I like to give it a little tug, like a little tension, and then cut. And then as you can see, it just kind of, that end just wants to retract back into where it came from. So that's one. Guess we don't need this guy anymore. Now we're just going to go ahead and weave in this tail. So let me grab my yarn needle again, put that through. And I like to do, I think it's called like an invisible stitch. I don't know always the technical term, but I've used a lot in other pieces. You go in through the back of this next stitch, so not this one, because as you can tell, this is where our last stitch was, if you tug on it. Instead, go to the next one, go in through the back of your piece towards the front, and then you go into where that last stitch came out, which was right here. And that is how you make an invisible stitch. All right, pretty simple. Especially if you already know about that, then I am just preaching to the choir. So I don't, like I said, I don't really do anything super specific. I just like want to make sure that I do one knot, meaning I go over it over itself at least once, and then I'm pretty confident that it'll be secure after that. So I'm just gonna go work into here a little bit. As you can tell, like you can't see it, it's just in the loops of your other stitches. Give it a good tug. It's secure. Oh, drop my needle. It's fine. Again, I had to pull it a little bit, cut, and you can't even tell where it was. Alright, and that's it. That's how to make a Tunisian leaf crochet coaster. And like I said, I just kind of like stretch it out some, and that gets it all kind of nice and flat. Yep, and that's pretty much it. Have fun, have a good rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.